Hey, how's it going? You already know who it is. It's your favorite lovely host, Key, and you are watching Primitive. Now, this is the boring stream, and today we are jumping back into another work session, a study session for Enterprise Architecture Foundations, and this is for the TOGAF certification, the level 1 certification. So, last time when we left off, we finished chapter 4, and now we are ready to transition into chapter 5, which is going to be focusing less on the AMD phases as individual steps and more on the ADM, I said AMD, the ADM techniques. So, I think we can just go ahead and jump in and yeah, get some stuff going on here. So let's go ahead and hop over to the desktop. Okay, so so what happened was I'm still following my little curriculum thing here to the best of my ability. I have definitely kind of, made it something other than what it originally was planned to be. However, I'm still on course. So I am roundabouts somewhere in between days 9 and 10. We went ahead and finished up this whole thing, so we're really at the end of this, and then I'm gonna get through this. I have 3 hours. Well, I have 2.5 hours really to study today, so we should be able to get through a decent chunk. And these sections are not super dense. And they're reasonably, but some of these are shorter. So I'm thinking we could get through from here all the way through day 10. Which would be great, because then if we do that, then I still have Thursday and Friday for this chunk here. And my goal really is this was originally a 4-week plan, and I was planning on taking the actual examination during week 5. So yeah, if I finish out this week strong, or get somewhere close to this as a goal here, then I will be able to finish up this stuff next week. And you can see here, this is less intense as far as new stuff goes. This is more, diving deeper into things that have already been looked at before. So yeah, we're getting into this, and yeah, I think I've been putting a lot of energy into trying to absorb every little bit and piece as I've studied this, which is great, but also at times it is a little bit excessive. I could probably stand to just be a little less intense on trying to absorb every single piece of content, just for the sake of getting through it without being burnt out. What I've been discovering, and this is probably just a me thing, what I've been discovering is that I usually can start the week very motivated and very strong. But then as I go, I'm trying to do this 4 days a week, right? As I go, I usually start struggling around Wednesday, because I inevitably will end up doing a late night study stream instead of doing it an early morning study session, which kind of ends up impacting my sleep cycle. And I think what's happening is that I'm spending so much time belaboring all the fine details. And it's stuff that I want to know, but it's not dire for me to dig into it the way I'm digging into it. So that all that's just to say that I'm gonna try my best today to keep it light and cute. You know what I'm saying? To keep it easy breezy. And what I'm gonna do as well is I'm gonna write my questions down. In fact, let me get rid of this. In fact, what I can do here is I can even open up like a little notepad. Let me set this up now. I'll show my screen again. Okay, so what I'm going to do this time, I'm going to try this out to the best of my ability, is instead of chasing every little dragon of questions and curiosity along the way, I have here a little notepad, and I'm going to put my questions in this as like a little staging area. And then as I go, my curiosities or whatever, I can double back on that stuff later on. This actually is great advice because this is the advice I give my students as well, or when I was a teacher at least. This was the advice I would give them, is to utilize someplace in their notebook or whatever note-taking tool you're using, and use that as a holding ground. Because when you're learning things, especially when you're really excited, your brain's going to be like everywhere, right? And those tangents can actually negatively impact your ability to focus on like what's really core and important. And to me, I'm just going to have to make the assumption and trust that this literature, whatever the literature is saying, that's the most important stuff. My things that I want to know are important too, but not for the core learning points that are kind of laid out here. So I'll be able to get to those, but that's going to have to be saved for whatever time we have left at the end. Okay, so we're focusing on ADM techniques. And let's see, what are the key... Oh, by the way, in the last stream that I strummed, I mentioned that I wish I had one of those multicolor pens so I don't have to keep switching to different pens when I take my notes. I found mine. I was doing something I never do, which is cleaning out the back of my car for whatever reason, and I found this one that I really love. I had another one that I got from Japan. Oh, this is actually the one I got from Japan, actually. So this thing is like 5 years old, and I have replacement. I gotta get the black cartridge in here replaced. Ooh, wait, hold on. Hold on. Let me just go off camera. I got it over here. Okay, so I don't know if you're like me, but I actually have a whole box of office supplies. I needed an endorsement. I got a whole box of office supplies, and I actually, mid-conversation, mid-talk, I remembered I actually have these replacements. I think I might have ordered these. I can't remember if I ordered these or if I got these when I was in Japan. I must have got these when I was in Japan because these are in all Japanese. So yes, I knew I would need these one day, and it took a whole 5 years. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that right now. Let's switch to the full cam. Okay, so I don't know what it is about office supplies, but like I must have some type. I don't even know how to do this. What is the correct way that this needs to? I think I just pull that. I don't know what it is about it, but I get really obsessive. I wouldn't even say obsessive. I just care about my officular. Is that the word? My office supply situation. I've always been really passionate about office supplies, honestly. If I could be a technologist at an office supply company, like a really good one, like a stationery company, that might be like perfect. Okay, so I've replaced. This is actually the first time I've ever used these replacements. It is like I feel like I just like have this need to stock up on things. I literally have a box that has like office supplies in case I run out of something, and I like hardly ever use the stuff in the box, but it gives me a sense of comfort. Because especially for this, it is so annoying when you're like working on something and your highlighter goes out, right in the middle. And for me, I'm just like, this is like disturbing my emotional state, Especially if I've already dedicated a whole page to using a specific pen or something like that, it will throw me off. My neurodivergent brain cannot handle it. I can't. It's so disturbing for me. So I gotta have backups. Okay, we're in good condition. All 4 cartridges are now rest to go. So let's go ahead and get into this. I don't want to waste any more time. Okay. So ADM techniques, techniciones. Okay. In this chapter, we'll be answering the following questions. How does ADM and the supporting guidelines and techniques relate to each other? So we have ADM and we have supporting guidelines and techniques. Okay. Man, it just feels so good to have fresh office supplies. Like, for real, sometimes it's the little stuff like that that just gets me in the zone. I'm even writing neater right now, honestly. It's crazy. It's a little extra boost. Okay, ADM and supporting guidelines and techniques. What are the architecture principles, and what are architecture? What are good properties of a good principle? That's a section. Waterfall and agile development. I've heard people say waterfall versus agile before. I always just sort of had like an implicit understanding of it, but I never really looked into it, so this is good. Okay, what are business scenarios? What is gap analysis used for? I already know that. What does interoperability mean and how is it used? Business transformation readiness assessment techniques. What are the characteristics of risk management? This is going to be a good chapter. I feel like this is going to really help me in my freelance business doings. We got Gemini Advanced here. I uploaded the whole study guide into this so that it can have relative context to it, which will help out. Okay, so 5.2, supporting guidelines and techniques. That'll be my first section. Secciones. Okay. The application of TOGAF ADM is supported by an extended set of resources. Okay. Including guidelines, templates, checklists, and other detailed materials. So one is ADM techniques. Okay, let's just write this out. Two series guides. I think I have those downloaded. Guide tutorial on how to use and adapt TOGAF standards to specific needs. Okay, so series guides. Three white papers and guides published by the Open Group, classified and referenced in TOGAF library. White papers and guides. Published by TOGAF, or the Open Group. By the way, if you hear random crashing and thrashing about, which hopefully won't be too distracting, the contractors that my apartment has hired are doing a roof replacement outside my window, like literally right here. You can't see it on the screen, of course, but like literally, I would say 6 feet from where my hand is, they're outside my window, climbing up and down, replacing the roof, dropping all sorts of debris on the ground, and listening to, actually it's really good like Spanish music. I really wish that I could enjoy it, but yeah, they're having a good time and throwing soda cans from the roof. My dog is so excited whenever I take him out there to use the bathroom. He likes seeing people in general. They've been very friendly with him. So I'm trying not to be distracted by it because I'm like seeing it out the corner of my eye. It'll be like this until Friday. Okay, so there's three parts. The ADM techniques, the series guides, guidance for the standard, or guidance part of the standard. Okay. The ADM guides are in here. Then I've got to log in again. Just remember me, please. I have to do this every single time. Okay. I don't know what's going on here. I'm gonna have to, I guess, figure this out. I just want to log in. I don't know what all this is. Please don't let this be no sensitive data. Oh gosh, I don't know what any of this stuff means. I just want to do a regular login. You know what? I thought I saved the link for this. Here it is. Okay, let me log in. I didn't push that button, but you know what? Y'all can have that one. Y'all gave me a hard enough time anyways. Okay, so there should be a guides in here. Extended guidance. No. Maybe that's what these are. Well, I did download the official stuff too. I did download the official stuff. I think I actually have it in here in my Apple Books. Ooh, this is so tiny. Here. Okay. Oh wait, that's not it. Here it is. Okay. I can show this safely. Okay, so I have these. These are the series guides. So business models, etc. I don't know where these are on the actual website, unfortunately, because their website is, it's just, I haven't gotten used to it, I guess. But I know it's somewhere in here. If I go here, maybe it's linked. I'll just write this as a question. Where in the TOGAF digital guide can I find series guides? I'm going to need to know that because by the time you get to the level 2 test, it is open book, and it's going to be through some type of digital portal that they have, not my own computer's browsers. So I'm gonna have to be able to figure out just from the website alone where to find these. I think that's what this stuff is here, but I'm not gonna worry about actually locating it at the moment as long as I have it written down as a question. It's fine. Okay, so that's the series guides, and then white papers and guides. I don't know like where that is either. These are more series guides things here. So that's my next question is, where do I find the white papers and guides published by yeah, these are actually very important questions, so we'll make them bold. Okay. Moving forward. So that's all this stuff. So there's a TOGAF library, and that's what contains the guides, white papers, and series guides. And then the ADM techniques are in the TOGAF concepts introduction, which I'm thinking is all this stuff right here. Yeah, because this is a chapter, architecture, content, applying ADM. I don't know if those are like formal titles for something. Yeah, I don't know if those are meant to be like formal titles, but this all seems to be stuff that is in the guide. These on the outside seem to be things that are like elsewhere, outside of this like core 6 chapters, or however many, 6 chapters. Okay. 5.3 Architecture Principles. I should like make some like fresh homemade lemonade and take it out to the something tells me that won't be nearly as charming and romantic for a 35-year-old black dude to do that, but it's like 80 degrees outside, and I know they're hot. I know it's hot out there. I just go out there like with some Southern charm, like, y'all want some fresh ice lemonade? How about Arnold Palmer? I know y'all want one of them. They're falling off the roof. Okay, so architecture principles. Architecture principles are general rules and guidelines that relate to architecture work. Architecture principles are typically developed by the enterprise architects in conjunction with key stakeholders and are approved by the architecture board. An output of the preliminary phase. Okay. So this is something that needs to be accomplished in the preliminary phase. I really want to know what they're listening to outside so bad. It's not like, it's not like modern, like popular Mexican music. It's like something classical or like some oldies. Sounds like some stuff that I remember people listening to when I was growing up. So, they address the following purposes: enable decision making. It's important to set precedents during trade-off discussion and authority of tiebreak. Oh, okay. Okay, so these are the purposes. chapter. So decision making, tie breaking, align the enterprise, take subjectivity and bias out. Okay. Ensure governance. Okay, so decision making, which is trade-offs, discussion, and tie breaking. I'm gonna take a break here in 5 minutes, go make my little protein shake. We've been on for 41 minutes, which seems like it's gone pretty fast, but I've done mostly talking for that. So, but yeah, 45 minutes is good for a break. Okay, aligning enterprise. Which is takes the subjectivity and bias out. So we'll just say remove bias and subjectivity and drive critical conversations. We'll just say critical. Ensure governance. I know this is like a hot take, but I think that the word ensure and insure with an I need to just be consolidated into one word and just use the I. I dislike the word insure with an E. I really do. It's always been a strong belief for me. Just get rid of it. Just use the one word ensure and let context determine which of the two. Just like accept and accept. We just only need one. You don't need both, you know? People don't even use them correctly anyways. Just get rid of them. Get rid of the weaker one. Okay, so this is right decisions are surfaced at the right time. Decision, right time. And we'll say right decision makers. And monitor decisions and approach. I really do have to do my break too, because my refrigerator is defrosting, and the little carton of milk that I have, the little container, I have to use it because there's nowhere to put it, and if I don't make the shake, it's going to go bad just sitting on the counter. So I need to do it anyways. So I'm going to finish this one. I'm going to go. Understanding values and culture. And approach and insight into how well enterprise reacts to change. We'll just say how well enterprise reacts to change. Okay. That is a big block. Okay. Let's do just a tiny bit of highlightation. I thought I had a scratch and sniff highlighter somewhere. Wait, hold on. I know I got one. I'm not going to just start smelling highlighters now. I know I got one somewhere. Somewhere in this bag. Oh, man, this would be a great time. I love little things like that. Things like that you keep me going during hard times. What is this one? Okay. Oh, it's fine. I guess I don't have one. I'm going to use this orange though. Okay, so architecture principles are developed as a part of the preliminary ADM phase. The purpose is to help with decision making, aligning the enterprise, ensuring governance, and understanding the values and culture. They are developed by the enterprise architects and approved by the architecture board with a capital B. Okay. And then here's an example. Okay, I'm gonna take my little break here, and I'll be right back. Don't go too far, but if you go anywhere, make sure you come back to the wolf pack. We'll be right here where we left off. Okay, I'm back. Let's get back into this. Whew, okay, I got my little protein shake. I recently got into, I guess, mixing my own instead of buying the pre-made mixture. Turns out, well, at least this is what the guy at the nutrition store told me. It turns out that it's just whey protein isolate and carbogain, or some type of carb to make a weight gainer shake. And I just bought like the separate components and just mixed them myself, and it was like more money up front, but I got like more bang for my buck, and it tastes better than the stuff I was buying. And it's like way less thick. I don't know what was in the stuff I was drinking before, but that stuff was slime. This is much more pleasant. The stuff I was having before, by the way, it was so thick that I couldn't even afford to put fruits and stuff in it. And I love to put fruits and like different, added, greens or whatever. That was just too thick. I would have been basically having to chew my way through it. Anyways, y'all did not need to know all of that, but that's my life. Okay, let's continue. Okay. So here's a template. Okay, so each rule, it seems like, will have a name, statement, rationale, implications. So each principle, rather. So we'll just call this, rule composition or principle composition. Yeah, avoid fluff. So this is basically saying here. When you choose a name for a principle, do not choose a name that has a specific technology. Obviously, technologies are going to change. Implementation details are going to change. That type of stuff is going to change, whether it's like a platform or a tool. And avoid ambiguous words. I think what this is saying is like there are some words that don't really have a specific meaning, or they're not really useful for helping people at a glance understand what something is. This is like very similar to when you're naming variables inside of code. Like there's just some words which is like, what does it mean though? Like what like you need to be able to understand what a thing is. Hopefully, with just a very shallow skimming of things, because that's gonna save you time. So avoiding fluff is also important as well. us. Point to the similarity of information and technology principles to the principles governing business operation. Describe the relationship to other principles. Okay. Let's change that to underline. Uh-oh, we got both. Just want the underline. Okay. Okay. And here's an example. This is. So, primacy of principles. Principles. Oh, this is a principle about the principles. Wait, hold on. When someone says a principal architect, are they saying that it's an architect that defines principles, or are they saying that it's an architect that's like the principal, like the leader? Sorry, that's my alarm. I need to be right back. I am defrosting my refrigerator, and that is the timer for my hot water. Give me 1 second. Okay. Yes, so that's going to be a question on my little question here. I guess it could mean both. I'm assuming it means the more along the lines of the hierarchy of position and seniority, because people will say like principal, engineer, or something like that as well. But yeah, it's a good. It's a. I mean, I don't know. Is there a person whose sole job is to manufacture and manipulate principles of a framework? Okay, its implications without this principle, short-term consideration, supposedly convenient, exceptions, rapidly undermine the management of information. That's true. Information management initiatives will not be permitted to begin until they are examined for compliance with the principles. I like this. I really do like this a lot, actually. This would be a little bit like if I was doing this type of work as a freelancer for a medium small business, this would be very daunting unless they had a committed resource that's gonna like an actual they won't. But for like a large enterprise, yeah, this is very appropriate. Okay, here are things that make for good principles. Complete every potentially important principle governing the management of information technology for organization is defined. Principles cover every situation perceived. They enable good quality decisions about architecture and plans to be made and enforceable policies and standards to be created. And complex, potentially controversial situations. Yes. Yes, sir. The underlying tenet of a principle can be quickly grasped and understood by individuals throughout the organization. And this will minimize violations. This is important. this is also good. You don't want to have principles that are in conflict with each other. You know what? This is very sensible for my Libra-ness. You know, we love balance. Scale what you need. Principles should be enduring yet able to accommodate changes. An amendment process should be established for adding, removing, altering. Okay. I need to catch my notes up to this. So he said, where's my multicolor pen at? Oh, there it is. Here it is. I was about to freak out. Okay, so principles should be few in number. Future oriented. Endorsed by senior management. And principles drive behavioralness. Ooh, I just had a thought. I'm gonna write this down. I'll put the pad over here. Let's call this section thoughts. I actually have a contact who is a director of sorts at a company, and my thought, how do I make this? My thought is that maybe I need to get an informational interview of sorts. What I really like to do is take these notes and formulate maybe some questions, because I want to be able to actually talk to someone and confirm that what I'm learning in theory, first of all, is sensical to reality, and then second, if not, how does it differ? And so let me put that here. Ask contacts for informational interviews with enterprise architects. Yeah, if I could do that, that would be really nice. Okay, so principles drive behavior. I'm glad I have this little notepad, because this is going to be really, really nice. Okay. So they need to be complete, robust, understandable, consistent, and stable. I feel like I understand this pretty well. I'm gonna try something. I'm gonna try something. I'm gonna take this whole 5.2 section, this whole thing-a-lang, and I'm going to. Actually, it's already in here. I'm gonna say, look at section 5.2 and ask 3 questions to confirm my understanding. According to section 5.2, what is the primary purpose of having support guidelines and techniques in relation to? So the purpose is to Oops. Okay, so purpose is to decision making for trade-offs and tie breaking, aligning the enterprise by removing bias and subjectivity and facilitating critical combos or driving. Ensuring governance with the right decision makers for the right decisions at the right time to monitor decisions and approach. Understanding the values and culture. How well does the enterprise react to change? Can you name 3 main places where the extended set of resources that support it can be found? Yes. So places for extended resources. ADM Techniques section, series guides, and white papers and guides published by Why are individual guidelines techniques described separately rather than being embedded directly within the description of ADM? I don't know. Did it say that? Did it say that? Why? So they can be referenced. Okay, I missed that part. I might need it to give me some further elaboration. Wait, did I misread that question? Okay, I misread the question. Appears. Okay, enabling decision making. Okay, I misread the question. That was not great. This is about the purpose of the supporting guidelines and techniques. This is support the application of the TOGAF architecture development method. The application of ADM is supported by extensive resources. These resources are here to help the practitioner use ADM. Okay, it didn't really seem to say that like flat out, but whatever. Okay, ask 2 questions about section 5.3. Oh, I gotta read this still. Okay, so these guides and guidelines techniques are not for any particular phase of ADM, and so they are going to be useful across the different phases. Okay. Ooh, excuse me. What are the 4 main components of the template for defining a principle? What's essential information about? Okay, so 1 is going to be name, and that is an unambiguous title that describes what the principle aims to accomplish, avoiding how I worded it. Describes the essence. I'll say that. Second one, sorry, my bad. Second one is the statement. We have the rationale. I like the business benefits and value in using business terminology, relationship to other principles. What else did it say? And attentions. Balance. How to balance interpretation and then speculative implications. Resources, costs, and tasks. In terms of resources, costs, tasks. Okay, so number 2. Understandable. That means that people can quickly understand what the principle means, why it's important, and how to apply it, which reduces the likelihood of it being ignored or violated. And then another one is consistent. Expressed in a way that is balanced and flexible with other principles, does not conflict with other principles. With or violate. I like this. This idea of just telling it to ask me random questions that I can answer. That's like a nice way to reverse, instead of having it explain everything, just have it ask me and I have to do the explaining. That activates that memory recall. Okay, so it sounds like I got this correct. Wait, did it say 3? Oh, it said 3. See, me over here, that's one thing I gotta get better at, is reading the question correctly, because sure would suck if I took the test and didn't pass because I didn't read the question correctly. Okay, but anyways, let's go ahead and let's see what time it is. I got about 45 minutes of study left in me. So it might be a good time to take a Broccaronis. Yeah, let's see, business scenarios and gap analysis. We can skip gap analysis because I've already looked into that. So we have business scenarios, and then we would be in the middle of this chapter. What did my plan say? What was I trying to get to today? 5, 6. Okay, so we will have done this. I'll probably make it to 5, 5 to keep it all the way 100 with you. I'll just make it, to the end of this, and I don't have to do this one. 5, 6. I don't think I'm gonna be able to do it in this 45-minute time span I have. I have an appointment I gotta go to, and I gotta ride my bicycle there, and I gotta take my bicycle out to make sure it still works because I haven't ridden it since the fall. So, okay, I'm gonna take a little break here, and I'm gonna come back, and then we're gonna wrap this up with one more little stint. We've been streaming for about 1 hour and 40 minutes or so. So I think we're making some pretty good time here. Don't go too far, but if you go anywhere, make sure you come back to Will Pep. We'll be right here where we left off. This is Keith. I'll see you in a bit. The important thing for me is to first start off by having a really strong idea of how much time do I actually have to spare, okay? And that time frame is going to be your study session. This is going to include any preparation, such as setting the stage, as well as the actual study, and then anything else that you have to do to wrap up or clean up, okay? So this is going to be my allotted time. So we'll just call this one, this here, oops, this is too big. Let's just call this my allotted time. Okay, that's what all this here is, okay? Let's make this a little smaller. So, but the point here is that you have a finite amount of time, and you also have a finite amount of energy, okay? One of the big challenges that people have when studying or when really doing anything is time management. Time management is super important. Proper time management where you're studying can make or break your session. And if you mismanage the time, then you're going to leave feeling drained. You're going to leave having learned less than you're capable of. And it's going to be really, really hard to build that consistency and inertia that you need to build on your study from day to day when you lack the consistency. So this is how I think about this overall span here, okay? So this study session really is just another way to describe my allotted time. Okay, this is all the time that I am capable of giving to today's study session, and this is going to vary. The important thing here is to be honest about your actual energy, okay? If you don't have 8 hours in you to actually study, and you don't have that clean slate where you can focus and not worry about other stuff, laundry, the dog, cooking, whatever. If you don't have all of that, do not allot that, okay? Now, the way that I think about it is, if you're at a job, and let's say you're a software engineer, you have an 8-hour workday, but you're not necessarily working or doing like hard labor that whole 8 hours. You'll be lucky if you get maybe 5 hours of that actually coding, right? Because you got lunch break, you got bathroom breaks, you have meetings, you need to have a personal break just to clear your head, and you have transitions between things. So 5 hours, 4.5 hours of actual focused work in the midst of 8 hours. That's like a good 60%, 50, 60%, right? And it's not that the other stuff is not useful. That's just what you can allot to actually doing the core obligation. And it's the same thing with studying, okay? So think about your day. What do you have that you need to do, and how does studying fit within that? And ideally, your allotted time needs to be time that you will protect the boundaries of. So the way that I think about my allotted time is, one, I have time for preparation. Okay, time for preparation for me, this is going to include the fact that I like to stream. This also could include setting the stage. So I like to stream, so I need to set up my stage. Okay, setting up your stage could mean cleaning your desk. It could mean getting your materials out. It could mean if you didn't clean up from yesterday or whatever. Basically, it just means preparing the location and materials for your session. This is a big one that a lot of my students in the past really struggle with. The struggle here is that a lot of people are kind of used to school, where your school or your academic context will you kind of walk into class and you just get started, right? You might have to set up your desk or pull out your pens and papers and stuff like that, but for the most part, you don't have to really think too deeply about the set and setting. You just show it for class, and that's the majority of that battle. Here, you are in charge of doing that yourself, okay? Now, the second part here is that not only do I need to set my stage, but also I need to prepare myself, okay? Now, not everybody is a meditator. I happen to be of that ilk where meditation is something that I greatly value. I'll put it like this. If you are going into a study session from another activity that is unrelated, it is really important for you to create some type of buffer so that your brain can adjust to the requirements of focus. Let me make these a little bit bigger so they're easier to see. So we have the setup, and then we have buffer. Okay, this buffer is about preparing yourself. Now, preparing yourself could look different for different people. I personally like to take a moment to meditate, to think. My definition of meditation is clearing my head. Okay, clearing my head, clearing my mental space, or resetting my mental space. That sort of thing. The goal is that whatever is going on in my head that could be a distraction, whether it's worries, concerns, stuff that I was just working on, I need to let that go, because if I am not fully focused and engaged with what I'm working on, then it's going to be really, really hard for me to get the value that I am seeking. Okay, a divided mind is going to be less capable of truly being absorbed. And in order to have that memory and that retention that you're looking for when you study, you need to be prepared to do that, okay? So once I prepare myself, that's when I actually start the studying process. One more thing I'll say here is that this is kind of like diving into a pool. You know, if you were going swimming, you're getting ready to dive into a pool, yeah, you could just go up there and just jump in, but most people will take a moment, they'll center themselves, and they will think about their entry. So consider and plan your entry as well, okay? So I always take a few moments after I get to my desk, get things set up. I will take a few moments and say, okay, this is what I think I can do. This is what I think my energy is like. You know, this preparation is going to help me determine my energetic levels, and then I will use that self-awareness to kind of come up with an idea of what I think is possible within the study session, which leads me to my next point. It's going to be a really small point here. I'm going to set a goal for my study session. Okay, so we're going to set a goal, and this goal is going to be based off of how I'm feeling after I prepare myself. Okay, if you don't have a goal, that is not the worst thing in the world. But if you have a goal, you're going to be positioned really well, because when you have a goal, you have something to work towards, and also you're more likely to get a sense of satisfaction at the end. And that sense of satisfaction is really, really important for helping you to maintain your focus and your motivation, because studying is difficult. It's challenging. You need to have opportunities to get that dopamine as you go. Goals equate to dopamine when you succeed, okay? Now, your goals should not be unrealistic, and they should not be too rigid, okay? If they're too rigid, then you're going to feel really bad and potentially develop an aversion. So you need to be flexible, and your goals need to be realistic. If your goals are not realistic, then you're setting yourself up for failure, and once again, you could be demotivating yourself or unintentionally creating an aversion. It happens to be the case that when people can continuously succeed at something, they are likely to continue doing it because it feels really good. And when you set goals that you can't complete, you're likely to feel really bad, to feel really poorly about it. And it becomes more difficult to convince yourself to keep trying. And a lot of things in life, especially studying and attaining new skills and stuff, it's not so much about succeeding every single time. It's about continuously getting back on the horse in the event of some type of failure. And if you've been watching these streams, you know I am not always successful. A lot of times I don't stay on track. I get distracted, or my study plan is very high-minded, is not realistic. But the main thing is that I have a goal and it's flexible. Okay, so there's plenty of opportunity to get back into it, and there's plenty of opportunity to hop off if it's not working out for me. Okay, and those opportunities are really, really important for preserving the integrity of my study habits. Okay, so once that is situated, then I can actually do the studying part. This is going to be the majority, the bulk of what is occurring. However, it is not without some type of detail. Now, these little lines here, these are not really representative of actual time. In fact, it might look more like this type of thing here. These aren't really going to take up that much time. So don't take this to be literal depictions of time. We'll add some arrows in here in a few moments. Okay, so this is going to be the main thing. The main show is your actual study time. Okay, now when you're studying, having a goal is going to help you know the what of your actual study. Okay, so do you have a certain amount of chapters? Do you have a quiz? What is the core content that you're going to be focused on? And by the end of your study session, what should you be able to know or do? Okay, so that's going to be an important thing to consider. By the end of your session, what will you be able to know or do? Okay, if you don't have a clear answer for that, then you need to go back to your setting goal phase of this, and you need to clarify there. You don't need to have this written out like I'm doing. You can just even have it in your head, is fine, but you need to be able to answer these questions for yourself, because in the event that you get off track, or you're having a bad experience, or you need to be able to explain your process to someone who's trying to help you achieve your goal, this is going to be the type of thing you want to be able to explain. Okay? And if you do these things, you're going to be in a really good position. So the study portion is about determining, or it's actually making your way to execute, so that by the end of the session, you'll be able to know something or do something. Let's make that all caps, and let's make that all caps. Okay, now the study portion isn't just sitting down and doing this for 2 hours or whatever. That would be a little bit intense, it'd be a little bit extreme. The main thing that I focus on when I'm in the study phase is balancing my my cognitive energy. Okay, it's probably a better way to describe that. The main thing here is that when you spend time focused on something, you have a finite amount of mental energy. I don't know if you play RPG games, but when you play an RPG game and like you play like a mage or some type of character, a fantasy character, you usually have a finite amount of an energy resource, right? It could be mana, it could be health, it could be power or whatever, right? You have a finite amount of energy. So the goal here is that you want to optimize your use of finite energy resources. Okay, maybe you're a little tired. Okay, maybe you have a little bit of a monkey brain. I know I do. Maybe you have something else you need to do that's going to be mentally intensive later on, and so you don't want to use up all of your energy. It's possible. So you want to optimize your use of finite energy resources, and the way you will do this is by taking strategic breaks. And not only strategic breaks, but you also want to study in a balanced way across your session. Okay. Now this second part's going to vary. Let's talk about the first one. A strategic break means do not wait until you are exhausted to take a break. Okay. Take a break before you feel tired. Okay, that's one of the big things that I learned, and also one of the big things I learned through observation with my students is if you take a break before you're tired, then it's going to be much easier to manage and to keep up with yourself. When we're focused in on something really hardcore, what happens is you enter into a flow state. And a flow state is a very magical state to be in because it allows you to overcome a lot of barriers and obstacles that could otherwise inhibit your ability to focus and do things. But you also become somewhat blind to yourself. So this is why I say do not wait until you feel tired to take a break. You'll get a better sense of this as you do this, but try to take a break a little bit before you get tired. Okay, or a lot of it. Okay, in fact, I think the best strategy is to just set a timer. Okay, the Pomodoro technique says that taking a break every 30 to 45 minutes is good. There's research that says that an hour and a half is probably the upper end for most people. More realistically, taking breaks much more frequently could also be a good thing. Okay, I personally like to do about 45 minutes. That's all I can really handle, especially when doing something really, really, really difficult and intensive. 45 minutes, an hour maybe. Okay, but take the break before you feel tired. And as far as studying in a balanced way across the session, you do not need to be giving 100% every waking moment of your study. Okay, your energy fluctuates. Okay, this is going into biology. I'm not a biologist, but what I do know is that throughout the day, human beings experience fluctuations of hormones, and those hormone fluctuations also fluctuate your relative energy and your relative feeling of fatigue, and also your cognitive availability, okay? And that's a very hard thing to sense. So the strategy that I would recommend is as you're studying, take a look at what you're about to study as a whole, right? Like if, for example, in my streams, you see, I will go to my materials and I'll say, I'll look through all the sections and I'll say, okay, how long are these sections? How dense do they appear to be? Are there some that are shorter? Are there things that I've looked at before? Okay. And I would try to use that to create demarcations in my study timeline so that over the course of this entire study portion, I'm able to sort of divide it up so that I'm not having to have all cylinders firing all at once the whole time. I can kind of like ease my way through it. By having a balanced process, you're going to be able to relax. And relaxation is really, really important. So this allows for relative relaxation. And also, if you're operating in a balanced way, you're going to feel less taxed. You're going to feel less taxed. Okay. So optimizing your finite energy resources and taking strategic breaks and studying in a balanced way that allows for relative relaxation. Okay. Now, within this study portion, what I would actually be doing is I'd be planning out little 10 or 15 minute breaks We'll find a separate color here. Let's go ahead and make this one blue. Blue is the color of relaxation, I guess. So it would be like this, bam. And then we put another one here, bam. And then we put another one here, bam. And these do not need to be the same length. I can usually get by with having 2 shorter breaks at the beginning, maybe a longer one in the middle, and then maybe another small break, and then I'll push through and wrap up at the end. Okay, so it'll look something like this. These blue ones are breaks, the yellow portions are active study. Now, there's an important thing to know about these breaks. When you take a break, you have to do it with intention. Okay, breaks should be done with intention. If you do not use a break in a way that has intention, you may not be getting the most out of your break, and you may not be serving yourself the best with what a break can do for you. Now, your question might be, what is the value of taking a break? To me, the value of taking a break is that you give yourself a chance to go back to this state right here, okay? The state that you entered into your study session at the onset, that is going to be your ideal, okay? Your ideal state is going to be hopefully that relaxed, reset, clear-headed space that you started out at. So that is going to be the goal. The intention of a break is to restore yourself as close, we'll fix this in a second, as possible to your initial state. Okay? It won't be perfect. Obviously, you'll be draining your energetic and mental resources. That is just a given with the study process, but that is the goal, is to restore yourself as close as possible so that when you re-enter into the study phase, you can come back into it from a stronger position, okay? So trying to restore yourself. If you don't prepare yourself, you won't know you won't know exactly what you're trying to accomplish when you relax and rest, okay? If you don't prepare, then you may not have a clear baseline for what rest and clear-headedness, I don't know how to spell that, clear head looks like. You may, perhaps, but why risk it, okay? And the thing to know and to remember is that usually when people have study sessions, this is an iterative process that gets you through some type of course or curriculum, right? So this is like, I'm studying for a 6-month program. I'm studying for a 6-month or a semester class. I'm studying for a certification. You need to be able to have a study process that is going to keep you from building up a lot of frustration and a lot of fatigue and a lot of aversion. So this resetting, these breaks are actually as important as the act of studying part, okay? So how do we do this? How do we actually get ourselves close to that clear-headed, prepared state? Now, this is going to vary from person to person. So take my specific advice with a grain of salt. I can only tell you what I personally know and will do. Okay, so what I do is I will meditate. Let's see, blue here. I will meditate. If you are disciplined enough, you may take a short cat nap. Okay. You need to set a timer. Okay. I use an app called Alarmy. It has requirements to turn it off so that I don't ignore it, such as shaking my phone, taking a picture somewhere, or doing a little puzzle. If you do not trust yourself to take a nap, do not do it. Okay, but this can be a wonderful way to reset. to clear your head. Also, it's really great for helping you to establish and solidify memories. A little cat nap can do wonders, especially if your brain is just full of like a lot of static. Okay, so meditate, short cat nap, doing nothing. Okay, don't do anything. Okay, a break is not your time to go and read a book. It's not your time to go look at your phone. We'll actually add that here. No phone. Okay, you do not need to fill your head with other things. Okay, you do want to separate yourself from what you're studying, but you do not need to fill your head with other or more things. This will be a great time to go interact with a pet, in fact. So you could say, interact with your pet or a person. Okay, something like that. The goal here, however, is to do something that is low cognition. Something that is low cognition, and ideally something that will allow you to offset whatever is going on in your head, something that will let you dissipate any accumulated energy, any sort of accumulated frustrations or cognitive dissonance. You need to find a way to offset that, to release that, to let that go. When in doubt, meditate it out, okay? When in doubt, meditate it out. That will always be a go-to. That will always be a win for me personally. If you're not inclined, any of these other ones work. And I'm sure you can think of some creative ones yourself. But the most important thing is to do nothing. Do not use your phone. Do not browse. Okay, you need to disengage. How do you spell browse? Browse. I think that's how you spell it. Let's see. We'll just leave it like that, okay? Not ashamed of not knowing how to spell correctly. Okay, so that's a key thing here. These breaks here are your chance to reset to something close to your earlier prepared state so that you can go back into the active study phase. Now there's one more piece here I'll leave you with, and that is going to bring you full circle with where you started pretty much. And you need to plan your exit, okay? You do not want to be the type of person that just puts the pen down and then runs out of the room. You need to have a strategy for how to exit the study process. So plan your exit, okay? Now, planning your exit can look like different things depending on whatever your goals are. Here are some ways that I find personally valuable. You could review or take a simple quiz. This is great if you have a tool like ChatGPT or Gemini or something AI. You know, obviously nowadays we're all using those types of things to help us with studying. Use that same chat session and say something like, hey, ask me maybe 5 or 10 multi-choice questions about what we just studied, okay? Something like that. Take all of your notes, in fact, and put them in the chat bot and say, hey, ask me some questions. Do something very simple like that. Another way that you can plan your exit is you can simply verbally review your notes out loud. Okay? Review your notes out loud. Say what you're going to say to yourself in the mirror. If you have a friend or something, even your pet can be very helpful. By reviewing your notes before you leave, you get to do what's called managing the gestalt. Gestalt is just a really fancy psychological term for the big picture of something, okay? The point here, however, is that when you have a set of goals, and whether or not you accomplish them 100% or not, you need to remind yourself of what you did in relationship to what your goals were so that you can assess the quality of your study experience, okay? And also, this is going to help you figure out what to do next, okay? If you do not plan your exit and act accordingly, then you're going to have to do more work to set the stage and prepare yourself and your goals the next time around. So this is going to be a time saver, and it's going to also make you a lot more efficient. So this will save time for the next study session and reduce prep work. You will know, you'll have a clear idea of what you didn't learn, basically. Okay, so this is how I think about studying. This is what I do when I'm on the stream. In fact, I don't get the chance necessarily to explain all of this, but this is the method behind the madness. And I hope that the next time you come by the stream, that you'll be able to observe these different phases and kind of see how I use this as a very simple framework for ensuring the quality of my study sessions so I can get the most out of my time. There's only one small thing that I guess I would add differently here is before you plan your exit or before you do your exit strategy, let's just make that called exit strategy. You might take a break before your exit strategy, okay? That break might be the chance for you to sort of passively come up with the game plan or assess your feelings. You don't have to do a break there, but I like to do a little break here before I wrap things up, okay? So try this out, make this your own, you know, take ownership of your process. Having some type of framework is better than having nothing at all. Okay, if you want to see this graphic, all you got to do is go to my LinkedIn page, and I'm going to post this on LinkedIn so that you can all check this out. And I'm going to go ahead and end the stream now. And thank you for coming by. And if you go anywhere, just remember you can always come back to the Wolfpack. My name is Key. This is Primitive, and I'll see you on the next stream. Bow. If you're still here, there's a survey in my description. Be so kind and go fill out that survey because it helps me improve this channel so I can make better content for you. And thank you for coming by. And for real, I'm gonna go. See you.